Selamat siang waktu Indonesia dan selamat siang pula waktu di Malaysia. Ini di Bogor sedang hujan cukup lebat, tapi semoga tidak menyebabkan gangguan jaringan ya, dan juga kan kita untuk belajar. Saat ini kita sudah memasuki sesi ke-6 yang membahas tentang Qualitative Data Analysis yang insya Allah akan disampaikan oleh Ibu Dr. Siti Sarah binti Omar. Baik, Bapak Ibu, untuk materi hari ini, jangan lupa untuk mempersiapkan pertanyaan-pertanyaan agar banyak ilmu yang dapat kita serap dari pemateri, dan juga nanti pertanyaan bisa di-share di kolom chat Zoom atau juga nanti bisa raise hand. Dan juga Bapak Ibu peserta untuk selalu memastikan mikrofon agar tidak bocor, ya, agar tidak keluar pada saat penyajian materi. Baik, sebelum Ibu Dr. Siti Sarah binti Omar menyajikan presentasinya, saya akan membacakan terlebih dahulu biodata beliau. Adapun latar belakang pendidikan beliau, ijazah sarjana muda, pentadbiran perniagaan di University Islam Antarbangsa Malaysia, lalu Masters of Science Human Resource Development di University Teknologi Malaysia, dan akhir PhD dari University of Southampton Unit pada tahun 2015. Pengalaman beliau yaitu pertama musyawarah kanan dan ketua jabatan pengurusan perniagaan di Fakulti Pengurusan Teknologi dan Perniagaan University Tun Hussein on Malaysia. Lalu yang kedua sebagai trainer, motivator dan NLP coach. Lalu yang berikutnya berdiri dengan jayanya seminar bersama dengan motivator terkemuka dunia Tony Robbins di Singapura bagi mendalami ilmu NLP. Berikutnya sebagai konsultan di beberapa buah syarikat korporat, lalu terakhir sebagai juru latih yang berpengalaman dan terlibat dalam sesi latihan di agensi-agensi kerajaan dan swasta. Adapun penghargaan atau prestasi beliau, yang pertama menghadiri dengan jayanya beberapa seri latihan NLP di Akademi NLP Malaysia, termasuk Certified NLP Basic Practitioner, Certified Lab Talking, dan Certified NLP Coach, dan Certified NLP Student Trainer. Dan juga beliau sebagai Professional Learning Facilitator, Professional Certified for Entrepreneur Educator, dan lain sebagainya. Itu tadi sedikit atau sekilas mengenai biodata dari Ibu Dr. Siti Sarah binti Omar. Baik, kepada Ibu Dr. Siti Sarah binti Omar, saya silakan untuk menyajikan materinya. Time is yours.
Terima kasih Bapak Haki. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang ya kepada semua, kepada terutamanya moderator bagi sesi ini Bapak Haki, kepada semua para mahasiswa dari Universitas Pakuan, narasumber dari UTHM ya, dan semua peserta pada hari ini. Okey, alhamdulillah pada petang ini you guys will be with me for the half an hour. Okay, I am so sorry because I think that I would deliver in English rather than in Bahasa, because I think all of the participants would understand English better, because I just feel awkward sometimes when I use Malay Bahasa, maybe the message yeah, so I prefer to use English, but I will be having mix of languages so that we can have a very good learning process today. Okay, so today, for the half an hour, you'll be with me for the topic of qualitative data analysis. Yeah, qualitative data analysis. So it's very interesting to listen to Dr. Zahrul Akmal. I was so inspired by his sharing. He has a very structured deliberation.
Bisa di-mute.
Right, thank you. So I was so inspired by Dr. Zarul talking about the initial part of the qualitative analysis on the interview. So he has a very good, way of delivering it using proper words that can be understood by Universitas Pakuan students. So I'm so sorry to not deliver in I'm using English. I hope that all of you can understand very well. If you don't understand, you just put your hands up and we can, you can ask questions about it and I can answer the question. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right. Can you guys see the slides?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. All right. So the slide is clear, yeah? Okay. Alhamdulillah. So this is the second last of the session today. So I was looking at the number of participants. It was 400 something this morning, but then in the afternoon it has been reduced to 200 something. So I'm trying to have these 200 participants today not to fall asleep and can understand and interactive with me so that we can have a better learning process. Yeah? Okay. So a very long introduction by Pak Haki just now. Actually, I am very much passionate with motivating and training. So that is why you could see the way I am presenting was so excited, and this is how actually I am. Okay, so for the outline of the presentation, so we have four I would say big topics, okay, within half an hour only, but I will touch a surface overview of those topics so that at least you're going to get a glance what is qualitative data analysis is about. Yeah. So I also do not know your background, your stage of research, and what method that you're taking, but this is basically an overview about qualitative data analysis. So if possibly you are working on quantitative research, you can listen to me and try to understand a bit about qualitative, then it's good for your learning, your knowledge. Yeah. So four broad topics: qualitative data, qualitative analysis, qualitative software, and the qualitative reporting. Okay, so I will start with this picture. Yeah, this is what we call as a fuzzy picture of qualitative data. So what is the meaning by fuzzy? Fuzzy means abstract. Fuzzy means vague. Fuzzy means tidak jelas, ragu-ragu. Okay, fuzzy means indistinct. You just cannot make sense of what the data is about. So that is the nature of qualitative data. As Dr. Zahrul mentioned just now, qualitative data involved with words. Yeah, words, and you can actually being piled with thousands and thousands of words in front of you, especially when you are doing qualitative interview, right? So in this data, you might possibly have 100 of pages of transcriptions, yeah, from the interviews, or maybe from the field notes, or from the video recordings. So it's very abstract. Okay, so this is where now the researcher needs to work on it, on how to analyze them, to make them sensible, to make sense of what this vague data is all about. Yeah. So let me tell you a story, okay? I know that every one of you guys love to listen to story and to make sure that you guys won't fall asleep during rainy time in Bogor, kan? Pak Haki said it's raining in Bogor, but it's in Johor over here, it's quite gloomy, okay? Maybe it's going to rain soon. So let me tell you about a story, you with a qualitative analysis. So we have, in the morning, you have learned about philosophy, you have learned about sampling, you have learned about literature review, research problems, background and all that. So now come to the analysis of data. So for Ayu, so this beautiful lady called Ayu, she has chosen a research paradigm called interpretivist. Yeah, as you all know that qualitative study is very much related to subjective nature of the study. We want to explore more rather than looking at the relationship between two variables. Yeah, so interpretivist is deemed or is considered as is one of the best methods to understand the social context or the social phenomena of the research setting. Yeah. So Ayu, for the research methodology, the next box over here, she has chosen qualitative. For the research technique, she has chosen multiple case studies. Yeah. So she meaning to say that she's doing within case analysis, and also she's doing cross case analysis. So what are the methods in conducting these multiple case studies? She has opted for 3, okay? Document analysis, in-depth interviews, as well as field notes or notes taking. So what is the context or the scope of her study? Is basically she wanted to study on the entrepreneurial network. Okay, in Indonesian language, it's called kewirausahawan, ya Pak Haki ya. Kewirausahawan. So network something related to in bahasa we call it hubungan, ya, hubungan. So mungkin bahasa Indonesia juga begitu. I am not so sure, but in English it's called entrepreneurial network, okay, of Malaysian Bumiputra entrepreneurs. So we call Bumiputra, they are the indigenous people, the origin people of the Malaysia. So focusing on the Melayu people, okay. So her cases was on the small firms, yeah, small firms. We can actually differentiate between small, medium enterprise. So her cases was focusing on small, medium enterprises. If according to Malaysian SME corporation definitions, it's basically the employees, okay, or the sales, yeah, the revenue is around ringgit Malaysia 3,000 and below, and the employees is between 5 to 50 employees. So this is the definition. So this is her research context. Yeah, let us proceed. So whenever I explain things about the data analysis, I will relate to the story of Ayu. So I hope that you guys also can follow easily of what Ayu is doing. Okay. So what is qualitative data? Dr. Akmal just now has mentioned about qualitative data. It's basically data that are easily reduced to numbers. So hence, like a transcription. Oh my God, a lot. If you have collected data for the qualitative, if you have one interview, let's say approximately around between 40 minutes to 1.5 hours, you're gonna need at least 8 hours to transcribe the data. It's not easy process. It's time consuming. So this is the transcriptions. Okay. So far we don't have any software that it can easily transcribe the data. And it is also suggested and advisable by many researchers that researchers should do themselves the transcriptions of qualitative data. Okay, because why? Because you're gonna need to immerse yourself. Immerse means menyelami, selami diri kamu di dalam data itu. Hinggalah kamu termimpi-mimpi tentang perkataan-perkataan yang kamu sedang kaji. Example, if you're IU, Entrepreneur Network, she has been dreaming about the network in her mind while she's sleeping. Sampai begitu. So it means that immerse. Immerse means you memang dulu ada ini apa itu? Tukar bahasa. Makan bola, tidur bola, mandi bola, right? So suppose in qualitative study or the researcher, you have to live with your data. So that is why you have to do the transcription by your own self. Don't pay other people to do that, okay? So next. Data, qualitative data is related to concepts, opinions, values, and behaviors of people in social context. Okay, so there are a lot of words over here. Concepts, yes, concepts that are coming from the theories that you are actually reading about, right? Opinions about the people that you are interviewing. Values about their way of life, about their norms, about their culture, right? And behaviors about how do they actually do certain things and why others not, and things like that. And in the social context. So this is very much suited to the subjective nature, social phenomenon of the qualitative study. So this is what qualitative data. So examples are like transcript, as I said just now. Transcripts are the interview data that you transcribe. Okay, you listen to the voice recordings, to the interview sessions, then you type one by one the words that have been voiced out by your respondents. If you're doing focus group, yes, of course, you need to type one by one, even though they are saying, no, things like that. You have to also, take note on the body expressions, on the gestures, especially when you are researching on the sensitive issues such as the political issues, right? So you really need to take note on that body gestures and facial expressions, yeah? Okay, we move on to the types of qualitative data. First is structured text. Structured, texts that are structured, such as writing, stories, comments, news articles, books, reports, emails, newspapers. So for IU, remember the beautiful lady IU? Okay, IU referring to documents. Okay, she is basically conducting entrepreneurial network of entrepreneurs, right? So in the companies, small firms companies, she reviewing the documents. Yeah, the documents such as emails, such as memos, maybe some letters that sent to the government agencies to find out about the entrepreneur network, the entrepreneurs and the government agencies, in order for them to, to get funding, to get facilities and things like that. Yeah. So for IU, not only documents, she also referred to books, journal articles, and these are also called as structured text. Next is unstructured text. Okay, unstructured means tidak berstruktur. Teks yang tidak berstruktur, ya. Mahasiswa semua, okay, teks yang tidak berstruktur, such as the interview transcriptions, FGD transcriptions, as what Dr. Zaro mentioned, focus group interview just now, yeah, focus group transcription, conversations, observation notes. It's the thing of qualitative study, they have to observe, to observe, and they have certainly to do some kind of field notes. For example, market researchers, or maybe research topics related to marketing, so they need to observe the expressions of how consumers, when they go to the shopping complex during COVID-19, so they don't like wearing the mask, they don't like to need to scan for the My Sejahtera. In Malaysia, we call it My Sejahtera. Whenever they want to enter shops, they have to do a lot of things. So maybe they want to find out how the respondents react and things like that. So observation is the most method that they can use. So yeah, that is the second unstructured and the descriptions and observation field notes. Next is audio recordings, such as music. If the research is related to music and that, interview recorded, or maybe forum that has been conducted through online, such as webinar like this. They want to state information from that webinar, things like that. So this is the audio recordings. And finally, video recordings. Video recordings such as graphics, visuals, and others. So now we move on. What are quantitative data? We have understood about the types and understand about the scenario.
Alokasikan kemana, apakah di penggandaan atau ditambahkan makan, itu kan untuk dia paling di situ mengikuti kegiatan ya kan, gitu aja ya kan. Toh kemarin kita sudah mengeluarkan uang konsumsi banyak juga kan, jadi dianggap untuk itu menutupin itu. Ini kan udah ada nih 10 kali ini. Iya, itu disesuaikan sudah. Badan kita kan cuma cuma 2 kali, misalnya ini kan udah 20. Tambah kan udah banyak. Ketika ini speak jam ini, aku ada tambahan teks kita mengeluarkan untuk orang narasumber. Berarti tinggal setelahnya adalah sisa 800 itu kan kemana nanti aku S2 yang kemarin kan terkait transportasi narasumber kita ngeluarin juga. Iya, tapi
recording in progress. Making the sense that collected from interviews as well as field notes, into meaningful information that can be used by governments in Malaysia to develop a kind of policy facilities to enhance the entrepreneur's performance. So that is something that we want to develop for the IU's case. So these are about the terms used in qualitative data analysis. Some of them used at the software, such as the common software are the NVivo and the Atlas TI. Some of them are also similar to the quantitative, such as theories and things like that. So here, although I believe that this part is not that sufficient to explain about qualitative data, there are many other terms actually that we will be discussed later about reflexivity, triangulation, what else? Cross-case analysis, grounded theory, a lot of other things. But these are the common terms in qualitative data analysis. So for the theory, it's well understood. For business, we've got a lot of theories that we refer to so that you have like a guide in your research. Okay, themes is common word in qualitative data. Yeah, it's basically idea categories that emerge from grouping of lower level data points. So don't bother about the meaning. So you listen to me. So themes, basically, in bahasa we call it tema. Yeah, tema. So later I will explain how themes are derived. Yeah, how themes are derived. So in qualitative analysis we also have thematic. Yeah, thematic analysis by Woolcott is very popular reference about thematic analysis. So themes we want to identify, we want to categorize, we want to cluster, we want to group the words that have similar characteristics into one umbrella. Things like that. Okay, that is themes. And characteristics at the bottom over here is about how do you characterize things? Yeah, criteria. What are the criteria that you can group certain words into themes and things like that. Okay, and then coding. What is coding? It's not like coding in software development and things like that. In IT, no. It's coding. It means that process of attaching labels to lines of text so that researcher can group and compare similar or related pieces of information. So it means that we attach the code to the text that we are reading. So normally we already have the set of transcriptions. For example, IU just now wanted to interview 5 in her preliminary study. She wanted to interview 5 government agencies personnel. Okay, it can be from finance department, it can be from SME corporation, it can be from banking institutions, it can be from others. So these are the entrepreneurs network, from government agencies. So what she needs to do, she has to transcribe the data. The data transcribed. So 40 minutes interviews can produce up to 25 pages of transcription. So imagine if you have to do it manually. So we normally get help by software to label certain words that have similar criteria, similar meanings into coding, into coding. So this is the process of coding. Then coding sorts, the terms that we use in the software normally, and also indexing. We process that, generate a word list across all the words, substantive and their location and things like that. So these are the words in the software that we normally refer to. So this, if you are a qualitative researcher, you will have to get familiarized with these terms. So what are the features of qualitative data analysis? Features means the nature of qualitative data analysis. It is definitely a circular and non-linear process. If you compare to quantitative analysis, if you are doing maybe PLS or SEM, there are certain set of process that you have to follow. You have to use step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. Okay, that is linear process. You have to follow one by one to reach to the conclusion of doing the data analysis. But in qualitative data, it is circular. Circular means it can go back from step 1 to step 2. Maybe step 2 don't go to step 3, go back to step 1. So this is what we mean by circular and non-linear. Okay, I will explain this more later. It is also iterative and progressive. What does this mean? It means that it can be repeated Okay, it can be also developed from one point to one point, just such as step 1, step 2, step 3, but then go back to the step 1 again, follow step 2, step 3, and focus and forward. So basically, okay, you understand now it is not a linear process. It can be like a circle, it can be repetitive, it can be like any other way that you want to do it. Okay, it's the most important thing, interaction with the data. What does it mean? Just now I told you about makan bola, tidur bola, mandi bola, and things like that. Yeah. So as a qualitative researcher, okay, you have to keep close interaction with the data. Meaning to say that researchers such as Miles and Huberman, he has a very good guidance on how to, after you come back from 1%, you straight away write down the summary, contact summary form, we call it, contact summary form. Use this form, okay, use this form to key in all the important points that you have got from the interviewing the respondent number 1. Yeah, because if you don't go straight to write down the important points, you might forget what the gist. You might be listening to the audio recordings later, but you're not gonna, the first-hand information that you just met the person, you just got listening by your bare ears, when you don't get to jot it down, then you're going to miss a lot of important G's of the interview. So that is why we call it a close interaction of data. Okay, so you have to do it straight away. Okay, and there are also memos. Later on, I will touch on this. Some kind of memos and researcher diaries that you need to always, whenever struck in your mind about certain things about the research, data collection, you have to jot it down so that it can help you to later on to interpret a lot of other things in your research. Yeah. Then data collection and analysis is simultaneous. Simultaneous means serentak. Yeah. Serentak, perlu dilakukan terus. If you wait after 50 interviews baru you nak do the transcription, then it is not going to work. Okay, normally researcher qualitative dia buat interview yang pertama, dan dia terus buat transcription, dan dia cuba analyze the data, because it will help the thinking process. It will help the reflexivity process. Nanti I'll touch about reflexivity. Yeah, reflexivity process, and it has to be done that way. That is why we don't normally kacau, yeah, orang yang buat qualitative data analysis, because they are so focused and so immersed with the data. Okay, and the level of analysis are varies. Okay, level of analysis are varies. So we have several stages. Such as other preliminary interviews, and then the real interviews, things like that, and focus group discussion. So they have, the levels are varies. Yeah, and finally, what does it mean? Okay. Finally, can be sorted in many ways. Yeah, so we have many frameworks in order for us to do analysis, such as Miles and Huberman way of doing it. We also have the AI framework, description, analysis, and interpretation by Woolcott. We also have many prominent authors like Yin and many others in qualitative analysis. Okay. So now, this is according to Miles and Huberman. Because of very limited of time, maybe I can just talk about Miles and Huberman way of doing data analysis. Okay, the first circle over here is data collection, where you do observation, interviews, documents, and recording. Yeah? Then next data reduction. What do you do in data reduction? You try to reduce the data. Yeah, you reduce the data. This is where you try to use the coding process, thematic analysis. Okay, you put the label for your words that are meaningful in your transcriptions. Okay, this can be done through the software. Okay, so do the data reduction. You reduce the thousand of words into group into categories, group into themes, group into similar codes based on the same criteria and so on. Yeah. So in this stage, they call it do the selection, do the focusing, do the simplifying, do the abstracting, and do the transforming. Okay. So next is data display. Yeah, data display. How then, after you have do the data reduction, you display the data into sensible and meaningful form. Meaningful form, ya. Meaningful means something bentuk yang sangat bermakna. Contohnya buat bentuk seperti graph, buat bentuk seperti matrix. Yeah, matrix is really helpful in looking at the data and try to find out the similarities, the comparisons, and then you can then write the interpretation out of it. Okay, so networks, charts, and a lot of these things. So networks can be developed through the software. Yeah, you can see the concept map, such as the tree. In Vivo, we call it tree analysis, so that you can find the relationship between one branch into another. You see, like a tree, they have many branches. So how then one tree connect to other trees and things like that. So it can be done through the software, and it's really helpful and very useful in order for you to put the output later on in your chapter findings. Yeah. And finally, conclusion drawing, yeah, give meanings, confirming and verifying. So you want to confirm with the literature that you have found out and verify with, contradictory information, or is it similarities and things like that. Okay. So Miles and Huberman say that this qualitative data analysis process, it will stop there because it's an iterative process. Remember just now, iterative process means you can go back if you feel that in the matrices there is something missing, that I need to get more information from the respondents, from the interviewees, so that you can go back to the interviewees. Yeah. So that is why it can be like this. Before you make conclusion, you want to display again the data, or you want to also go for the data reduction again, and maybe you want to go for data collection again. So this is what we call an iterative process. This is not just like quantitative study where you distribute the questionnaires and you get all the information from the questionnaire, then ta-da, finish. You can, output is ready. But in the qualitative process, it is iterative. It is non-linear. You can be in circle because you feel like, this is not enough. I have to go find more information from the respondent. I have to go back to her, or I need to get more information from other entrepreneurs from the same context and things like that. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the iterative process. Next, let us go to coding. How many minutes do I have left, Bapak Haki? Ada berapa minit?
2 minit lagi.
2 minit? Yeah. I don't think I have enough time. Okay, 2:40. Okay, never mind. I try to speed up. Yeah, thank you, Bapak Haki. So coding is way of classifying data. Okay, from the transcriptions, you put into clusters or categories. Okay, and then you code them. Yeah. Okay. And then analytical process. This is one of the way that I have also mentioned just now previously. So having a summaries, Miles and Huberman say that we call it as a contact summary form. It means that every time after you come back from interview, you fill in that form. Yeah. So if you go to search for Miles task and human context summary form, then you can get the details what to put in there. So you can be flexible. You can put anything that you feel that can be summarized from your first interview. Self-memos is something that, you should have like a notebook. You can put the memos, anything about thinking, something that you noticed. Okay, so put in there from the observations that you have just done and things like that. And then researcher diary, because normally when you go for the field work, you won't stop for certain number of months, right? And you want to proceed. So have a good diary by week, by day, so that you can track who did you go to interviews and things like that. And finally, reflexivity. Reflexivity coming from the word reflexive. Reflexive means dalam bahasanya called muhasabah. Muhasabah kan? In bahasa Indonesia, I don't know what is the word, but reflect. You want to reflect. Reflect means you sit down and try to reflect what are the things that can relate to yourself, with the participants, with the research context, and it is explained by pattern. Sorry, it's 2006. I missed the terlebih 10, pattern 2006. So those qualitative researcher, if you are doing qualitative, so having this reflexivity in mind when you do the analysis is very much important. Go back to the context of Ayu just now. Ayu, she is also a Bumi Putra. She also has a mother who also involved in small business, and she can understand about the culture, about the values of entrepreneurs, and she can actually reflect herself. While when doing the interview, she can easily engage, she can easily suit to the respondents' needs, and she can understand better. So this is what we call reflexivity. So you can ask, as a qualitative inquirer or researcher, you can ask, what do I know? How do I know what I know? What shapes and has shaped my perspective? With what voice do I share my perspective? And what do I do with what I have found? So this is something that, that you can relate yourself, with the situations of the respondents. And then another two parties over here that you also need to understand and relate and do the reflexive is participants. And the other side is audience. So audience means who are going to read your research, who are the stakeholders, then later on who are gonna embark on, the recommendations that you are going to put later, things like that. Okay, so this is what we call as reflexive. Okay, this is the types of qualitative analysis. I'm not going to touch in detail one by one. This is just for your knowledge. At least this is basically the things that types that you can focus on. So the common qualitative software, such as the most popular, NVivo and Atlas. Okay, we go to the end of the subtopic, writing a qualitative report. Okay, so when we have done the data collections, finished the codings, you now then able to relate, linking things between themes, finish, do the coding. So this is now where you have to come out with a report and do the interpretation of the data analysis. So qualitative research generates rich information, thus deciding where to focus and the level of sharing is very challenging. So it means that qualitative is very rich in information. It's in depth, it's very grounded. Okay, so you have to come close to the point of maturation. Some people do not sure, how many interviews should I go for? How many numbers? Is there any specific numbers? Basically, there is no answer for that. It is based on data saturation. data saturation means data tepu ketepuan data itu. In bahasa Indonesia, I don't know what to mention the word, but it's data saturation. Okay. So you have to be also aware of resource constraints and sources. The time is up. Okay, I have to finish a little bit, a few minutes, okay? Yeah. All right. Okay, and then, this is the format. Maybe you are going to produce a research report, scientific research article, field report, evaluation report, and so on. Yeah, and the focus to who are the readers are. Okay, so these are the variations in the report format. The reporting qualitative research, making interpretations. Okay, the most important thing is the trustworthiness of the data. Yeah. So finally, this is the example of a concept map that you have reduced the data, do the data display, and this is the drawing conclusions that you have made. With that, I thank you, and we can open for discussions.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Dr. Siti Santi. Thanks for your sharing. And kalau saya dapat simpulkan bahwa untuk kualitatif data analisis itu dimulai dari kualitatif data yang sifatnya hazy data yang kemudian diolah untuk dikonversi menjadi sebuah explanation, understanding, dan juga interpretation. Dan juga ada beberapa term nih dalam analisis kualitatif data seperti teori, indexing, terms, coding, karakteristik, dan juga bagaimana data collection ini bersifat simultaneation, sifatnya bersamaan antara data collection dan data analisis. Dan ini juga bermacam-macam level analisis. Dan saya yakin peserta di sini banyak yang sedang mengambil penelitian berkaitan dengan data kualitatif. Dan pasti banyak nih pertanyaan-pertanyaan, dan silakan kepada para peserta untuk mengajukan pertanyaannya. Bisa untuk raise hand ataupun bisa chat di kolom chat di Zoom, ya. Saya persilahkan. Ya, sudah ada Bapak Setio Hendriato, ya. Silakan Bapak untuk mengajukan pertanyaannya.
Thank you Mas Aki. Thank you Ibu Dr. Siti. You like Siti Nurhalisa. Ibu, your smile. Ibu, my question is, in the qualitative research, it is difficult to maintain the trusty worthiness of the data. So how we can to keep this data as a valid or reliable? Because it is not easy to ascertain that our informant is they will deliver the data information to us that can be verified by our methodology. So how we overcome this obstacle? And then my second question: how do we perform like triangulation? Maybe you can share your little bit experience about the triangulation in the qualitative data. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bapak Prasetyono. I pray that saya doakan mudah-mudahan kajiannya dimudahkan dan boleh finish segera. Yeah. So as we all know that qualitative data analysis is very tedious. Yeah. Tedious means process sangat really you need to really together with the data for you to come out with the interpretation. So the first question, I can conclude that you are asking about trustworthiness. Yes. Dan yang kedua about
triangulation.
Triangulation. So let me answer about the triangulation. So I go back to the IU situation, IU scenario just now. So she has basically conducting research on entrepreneurial networks. So she has several interviewees, several groups of respondents. Okay, she is also not only interviewing the entrepreneurs, but she is also interviewing the government agencies that are related. She is also interviewing we call it in the research strong ties and the weak ties of the entrepreneur. Strong ties means the family members, the close friends, and also the weak ties such as the government agency just now, maybe the long lost friend who maybe give money funding to the family, so to the business, So these are the triangulation. So we are not actually getting information from one party, the entrepreneurs, but we validate the information from the entrepreneurs from the interviews with other stakeholders that the entrepreneurs are dealing with. So I'm not sure what is the context of your study, but you can basically, validate the information from the major respondents, from other respondents that are have close contact, having, so that we can verify the data. That is what we call as triangulation of, getting validation. Other ways, by having method triangulation. So in the context of IU just now, she also check the documents, doing the documents analysis. Yeah. She's also taking field notes from the observations. Yeah. So these three methods, the interviews, the documents, and the field notes become a triangle context to the data collection. So we can then say that, we have done the triangulation, so these information are robust. Robust means very strong, very good, and very reliable. Yeah. So when go back to the trustworthiness, I was looking for my notes, and I will look at the notes. But anyway, we can relate trustworthiness with the triangulation, whether the information can be trusted or not based on the triangulation, data validation and verification from other sources just now. Yeah. So I was looking for the. Let me just try to look at the information that I think I have put in here, but okay, never mind. Let me just because I think that information is very good. I'm not sure why it is not there in my slides, but maybe because of running out of time. But anyway, about the trustworthy, another thing that you can have in terms of we call it in qualitative analysis as audit trail. Yeah, audit trail. You can try to find from the research text. Audit trail means you do the audit. Okay, what is audit? We do the checking. Of the transcriptions. You send back the transcriptions of what you have done to the respondents, so that the respondents can have a look at the transcriptions that you have done. It is correct. This is what I said. This is not something that you are making up, something that you tambah, something that you cipta baru, you create baru, and things like that. So audit trail is really helpful. Also, when you have completed the chapter findings analysis, you send to the respondents to check about the trustworthiness about the data. So that is my answers to that, Mr. Prasetyono.
One more, please. And in the qualitative data, the important thing is the person or the informant, right? And then maybe do you have any experience, any knowledge to choose? Okay, I will pick up this informant as a reference, as our source. for our research. Maybe are there any certain parameters or indicators for them?
Okay, Mr. Doctor to be practitioner, inshallah.
Amin, amin, amin. Thank you.
We call it as purposive sampling. Yeah, in qualitative study, we call it as purposive sampling. So we select the respondents based on purpose, based on what are the contexts, based on the similar criteria. So go back to the context of Lady Ayu just now. So Lady Ayu, she has selected so southern region of Malaysia to be the context of the study, and then she zoomed close into food and beverages only. And every the sector that she has chosen, there must be a strong justification. You cannot just simply choose, I want to do IT. Why? No reasons. You cannot be like that. You have a very strong justification. For Ayu's case, she selected food and beverages because this is the highest numbers in southern region. And that is the highest population for the for food and beverages. And then she has detailed out the criteria into entrepreneurs that have business at least 5 years. So by having a narrow down purpose or objective or narrow down criteria, then you can be able to identify the best informants. That is my answer to that. I hope that it.
Thank you very much for your insightful thoughts. Thank you, Sarah.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Is there any more? Yes.
Prasetyo, for your question, and thank you, Bu Dr. Siti Sarah. Karena waktu sudah habis, mungkin sesi tanya jawab kami tutup ya. Dan sekali lagi saya ucapkan terima kasih banyak kepada Ibu Dr. Siti Sarah binti Omar atas penyajian materinya. Semoga ilmu yang diberikan ini bermanfaat buat kita semua, khususnya yang sedang melakukan penelitian terkait dengan data atau qualitative data analisis ya. Terima kasih, dan saya serahkan kembali kepada Ibu Dani selaku MC. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih Bapak Haki kerana